It's cold. Can you see that? That's the perks of living in a shack. You get to see your breath for 6 months of the year. Hi, I'm here. I know I've been gone for a while. Bad back. Believe it or not, lifting a tombstone was more of a headstone. Out of all the things I deal with in this cemetery, lifting a headstone, basic day-to-day maintenance 101, threw my back out, couldn't move. Stuck in this place for about 9 months. Had my table stolen, as you can see. Don't know by who, I was asleep. On the plus side, they stole that talking possessed bear from the monkey episode, so that did me a favor. Halloween got pretty busy. As you can imagine, Halloween's a pretty busy time for me. I mean, not busy, like people don't die more around Halloween. You know, it's not busy in a good way. Is that a good way? But busy in the sense of kids smashing things and hanging about, having parties, breaking pumpkins. Witches, had to throw a coven of witches out on Halloween night. Black flame candle, all of that. On the plus side, oh, bad. Got the cauldron. Did not get to them before they ate the kids. So, swings and roundabouts. The reason I came back is fan mail. I got a piece of fan mail. 5 videos. Not bad. Thought I'd read that later, maybe do a review first. Keep my mind busy so I don't have to not feel my fingers. So, yeah. What have I watched? Shelby Oaks. Now, there's a weird online buzz regarding Shelby Oaks, and most of that is down to the fact that the director, Chris Stuckman, was a YouTube reviewer before he directed the movie. Some people seem to take issue with that. I don't take issue with that because I'm not a baby. As far as I'm concerned, any route to making films, if that's what you want to do, is a legitimate route. As far as I'm concerned, anybody that's reviewing films, even the best reviewers, are making less art than the worst filmmakers. Who am I to sit here and say you can't do that or you can do this? I'm pissing in a cauldron. Shelby Oaks is, in a word, competent. It starts off really well, actually. You can see the Blair Witch influences on it pretty much straight away. The first kind of, I want to say 20 minutes or so, are all shot as if they are a real world documentary about a girl that's gone missing. And it feels as if you've actually sat down to watch a true crime Netflix documentary. In fact, the film starts out in 4:3 aspect ratio, which really confused me to start off with, and then slowly it transitions wider, and then eventually when you get to the film proper, it becomes a full widescreen fictional production. But the first sort of maybe 15 minutes or so, it's shot and presented as if you're watching a true crime documentary. The cut, and it is basically just a cut on action from that documentary style filmmaking to a fictional drama, is fantastic. It's very good. It's effective. It's sort of shocking if you've not seen that many horror films, I guess. But it's startling, and it really kind of pinpoints where your opening is and where your film starts properly. The downside to the film transitioning from a docudrama to an actual drama is the footage of the missing sister, that's the whole plot of the film, still keeps cropping up throughout the movie. So there's big chunks of the film where you actually just have to watch the main character, who is the sister of the missing sister. You have to watch the main character watch TV. And that takes up more of the sort of middle act of the film than I'd like. Now, admittedly, Night of the Living Dead has a lot of footage of characters sitting around watching TV, and Night of the Living Dead is one of the best films ever made. I'm not saying Shelby Oaks is one of the best films ever made. I'm just saying that's one of my criticisms of it, but maybe that's an unfair criticism. The lead character is, as I say, the sister of the missing sister. She doesn't get much characterization, unfortunately. We follow her pretty much throughout the entire movie, and she has one goal, and that one goal is to find out what happened to her sister or where her sister is, and that is it. She does have a husband, and the husband looks like he's sick to the back teeth of all of this by now. Sort of like he was supportive, but he's not supportive so much anymore because this has gone on for some time. It's kind of buried in there, but it's not really, they don't really touch upon it too much. You're mostly following this one character, and she mostly only wants one thing. So outside of that, you don't get much in terms of characterization. However, having said that, the film at least is focused. It has one plot, one narrative that it's trying to achieve, and it just heads straight down that one pathway. So in terms of engagement, you at the very least want to find out what happened to this sister and where she disappeared. And there is a point about the midway part of this film where the lead character starts making some questionable, generic horror movie decisions. Because she wants to know where her sister is, she just gets up and goes towards the first piece of evidence that she finds. Never mind the fact that it's an abandoned, spooky prison out in the middle of nowhere, that she doesn't go with her husband or she doesn't tell anybody that that's where she's off. I mean, the film does give you a little bit of an argument between them to say that that's the reason she's done it, but still, it breaks the immersion a little bit. Nobody would be seen going out there by themselves. So from there, the film kind of devolves into just having some kind of basic horror movie scenarios, just to get a couple of jump scares out of you and to move the film along. It doesn't break the film entirely. It doesn't completely destroy immersion to the point where you want to stop watching the film. And the film does pull it back around again towards the end. But there is a moment in the middle where you start thinking, what is this character doing? This is the daftest thing in the world. And then you get some very kind of generic supernatural movie jump scares. In terms of jump scares, throughout the film, there's actually some genuinely effective ones. Chris seems to have gotten down the tempo of turning down all of the sound and all of the soundtrack and then startling you with something. One of the ones that got me was just a cracking plate of glass, something as simple as that. And there are a few times where I think he's trying to pull off a jump scare and it doesn't quite work. But the technique is there and it works more often than it doesn't. From a debut horror movie, it's pretty workmanlike and it's pretty solid, and there's some fun, spooky compositions going on throughout the narrative, particularly towards the back end when the plot starts to come together, which it does. It doesn't leave you hanging. It doesn't pretend that it's smarter than you are. It does go towards a conclusion. The ending I found to be a little bit understated. The movie sets up a question, where is this girl? And then it gives you an ending. It doesn't pretend that it's smarter than you are. It doesn't leave you hanging. It tells you a narrative, and it tells you it effectively. But by the time it gets to its conclusion, I think it's trying to give you a sort of chilling ending to leave on, as opposed to a big action set piece or something, that's huge in scope and scale. It gives you something smaller, and it fits the narrative, but it's also not that dramatically engaging throughout. So by the time you get to the ending, it just feels right for the ending of that narrative more so than shocking or effective. It's not going to blow anybody away. It's workmanlike, but workmanlike is a hell of a lot better than, trust me, 99% of the amateur films out there. So if this is his first time out the gate as a filmmaker, his second time, his third time, his fourth time might be something to look forward to. He's definitely a fan of the genre. You can see influences from other films within this film. Like I say, Blair Witch is a definite inspiration for the opening half of the movie, and also the kind of autumnal look of some of the film. I won't go into what some of the other influences are because they would spoil where the film's going, and I don't want to do that. But it's clear he's a fan, and if he continues to put movies out and hopefully improve at a rate of anybody that gains experience doing these things, great, good for him. For me, I'd consider this a strong first attempt. I would watch some more films of his if he's going to put more out there. I hope he does. I hope he soldiers on. I hope all this online backlash that's based purely on the fact that he's doing the thing that other people aren't doing and want to be doing doesn't affect him too much, and that he goes on to make more movies, because I think he has a pretty decent eye, and I think he has an idea of what it is he wants to do. So more power to him. I'd raise a glass, but I don't have a glass. I have a cauldron full of piss, but that seems a little distasteful. So, right, fan mail. 1 second. Okay, fan mail. Oh, there we go. Dear Guy, good start. We've seen your videos online and quite enjoyed them. In the past 16 years, you have served efficiently as the groundskeeper at our cemetery, and we have been happy with your work, both maintaining the grounds as well as helping to keep a lid on the unspeakable horrors that inconvenience the cemetery on a regular basis. Yeah, good. We have noticed that you are recording in the maintenance shed and have complained about the lack of utilities, such as bathroom, electricity, and so on. We're sure you're doing this for comedic effect, but would be remiss if we didn't write to you to mention that the large empty house adjacent to the shed on the cemetery grounds is in fact the expected living accommodation for the groundskeeper. The key to which should be the small silver key on your keychain. Oh, shit. We hope that you have enjoyed your time in the accommodation these last 16 years and will continue with us for many more. Broadview Cemetery Council. Excuse me a second.